My in-laws won't stop treating me like a child and my mill is ruining my experience as a first-time mom. My husband and I have a 9-week-old daughter and recently his parents started coming to visit us every day because they want to help, and at first I appreciated their help because my mill would cook for us or help with the baby during the day so that my husband and I could get some sleep so we wouldn't be so tired at night, but now she's stressing me out because she doesn't stop treating me like I'm a stupid kid. 2 days ago my husband gave me an illustrated edition of a book by Gabriel Garcia Marquez for my 26th birthday because he knows that I love illustrated books and I love Garcia Marquez, and when my mother-in-law saw it she started making fun of me. She was like, my husband's name has loved Garcia Marquez since he was a teenager. I guess he told you about him, right? I mean, you're very young. I didn't even think you knew him, and then she asked me if I wanted an illustrated book to make it easier for me to understand the book. And I would like to say that it's the first time she has made those comments, but it's not. She has been treating me like this since I started dating my husband 2 years ago. At first I didn't care, but now it's different because she even makes me feel like a child when it comes to my daughter. For example, the other day I was giving her massages because she had a tummy ache and my mill started saying that I was doing it wrong, that the new generations don't know anything about motherhood and that I was only making everything worse. My husband told her not to interfere and to stop making those comments, and she stopped, but every once in a while she goes back to making passive-aggressive comments. Yesterday my Phil was talking about politics at dinner, and when I wanted to talk he told me that he doesn't think the way I think, and then he started laughing because someone as young as me can't know much. According to him, young people are idiots and are not capable of having their own opinion about who they want to be their next president. My husband told him that you don't have to be an elderly person to know about politics, that he used to think differently, and that when he met me he learned a lot about politics thanks to me, and now he thinks like me for that very reason. And my Phil joked that anyone would change their mind for a pretty, young woman, but that doesn't mean she knows anything. And before they start fighting I changed the subject, but I'm fed up. Why is it so difficult for them to understand that I'm closer to 30 than 15? I appreciate their help and how they make everything easier sometimes, but I can't stand them anymore, and I told my husband and we decided to hire a woman to help us with the cleaning and cooking. He talked to his parents to tell them to stop treating me like that because otherwise they won't be welcome in our house, and what did they do? They were offended and think I'm a crybaby who can't take jokes like an adult, and now I feel like a fool because it seems that no matter what I say or do they will always see me as a child. How can I deal with this? Should I try to talk to them? I wouldn't want their relationship with my husband to be ruined because of me. Comment. Your husband sounds like he has your back, and that is great. Let him continue to set boundaries with them. If you need distance, take it. He is your forever family, hopefully, and they need to realize that. Don't be afraid to stand up for yourself when a comment is made. If you don't say anything you are teaching them to treat you that way. Husband, I love you, but we have a child now and I am not going to interact with your parents anymore, and our child certainly is not getting anywhere near them until they can respect me. I'm firm on this because I'm not having our child growing up and seeing me being treated like shit so they can be treated like shit by their in-laws. I don't deserve that, and the long-term damages your parents will pass on to our kid is something I will not tolerate. Stop having them over and stop going anywhere they are. Keep their disrespectful selves away from your kid. Story 2. How do I get over jealousy towards my boyfriend's female friend he used to have a crush on? Recently my boyfriend revealed to me that he used to have a crush on one of his female friends who I've never met. I was surprised because we had talked about our relationship history and crushes before, but this had never come up. In the 2 years we've been dating, I've met the majority of his friends, both male and female. What's interesting is I had known about her existence, but he rarely mentioned her. Let's call her Anna. He'd always describe his friends in detail, where they live, what they're up to, what they're like, but with her he'd say things like, "Oh, that's my friend Anna from high school, she lives in X state now," and just sort of quickly move on. When we first started dating I caught a glimpse on his phone of him texting her, but he weirdly hid his phone so I couldn't see their conversation. He never does this. I did see her name, so later I looked her up on IG and saw she was in his friend group in high school. So back to now. He tells me he visited her in college a lot and developed feelings for her. It seemed pretty serious because all his friends knew, and he confessed how he felt to her. She rejected him and only wanted to stay platonic. Understandably he was bummed. I asked him if they still talk. He said occasionally they'll send pictures of their pets to each other, but that's about it. I asked about seeing her in person, and he said very rarely because she's been out of state the past couple years. In hindsight, I had realized one of his friends who is also close friends with Anna wanted to fly out with my boyfriend to visit her and their other mutual friends, and when I asked him about this he said he didn't really want to go. Even more recently he brought up an instance when he hung out with 3 friends early on when we were dating, and mentioned Anna was there. I told him he forgot to tell me that detail when it happened. We are very open with each other about who we're hanging out with. I remember him saying it was only 2 people with him. He said that was the last time he's seen her in person. It was over a year ago. To clarify, I'm not bothered that he has female friends. I'm also not bothered if he wants to hang out with her in a group. I just thought it was weird how he conveniently left that out, as well as really anything about her, for the past 2 years. I just can't get over this weird lingering jealousy I have. After he confessed to me he said Anna's a very cool person and I'd like for you to meet her, you'd get along and maybe it makes me a bitch but I don't really want to meet her. I'm sure she's nice, but I can't fathom hanging out while sitting there knowing my boyfriend was crushing on this girl he's known for years hardcore. Maybe it's because they've known each other for longer too. I've only known my boyfriend for a little over 2 years. I set a boundary and told him I'd only be uncomfortable if they got dinner or drinks alone together. He understood. I love and trust my boyfriend, but part of me can't help but think what if at some point Anna will change her mind and regret her decision? Call me irrational but I'm also just protective of my man. Comment. You said it yourself, Anna's had plenty of opportunity to decide she wanted to date your boyfriend. Not only has she not pursued that, they're barely even on speaking terms at this point. At least, assuming you trust that he's not hiding any secret texts, but that's still more a question of whether he's someone you should be dating at all than her being a threat. I don't understand, I have questions lol. Why did this just come up? How did it come out? Did he explain why he never brought it up? Why are you talking about him hanging out alone with her when he hasn't seen her in a year nor has hung out alone? Why is talking about you meeting her? Is she coming in town? Did you ask him directly if he still has feelings/attraction to her, if she's anything you need to be worried about? Story 3. I want to break up with my boyfriend of 3.5 years. So like the title says, I want to break up with my boyfriend of 3 almost 4 years and I'm not sure if I'm valid in feeling this way. For some context/background, we met in high school, I want to say a month or 2 into 11th grade. I had just gotten out of an abusive relationship about a year and a half previous to meeting him and had 2 other boyfriends within that time span. I know what the comments are going to say, why didn't you give yourself a break from boys after that? Well, my self-esteem was really low and I had extreme attachment issues after the breakup with my ex. I couldn't stand to be alone, whatsoever. Anyways, when I met my BF we didn't originally hit it off. He had eyes for another girl but I stayed trying to drop hints that I liked him. She did not like him at all, it was apparent. Eventually he got the hint and started to pursue me. I'm sure the reason was because he couldn't get her, which bugs me, but I really didn't think that at the time. We had a really rocky relationship due to young age, me not being emotionally stable. I have bipolar, and CPTSD, which was unmedicated at the time, and he was dealing with his own private matters that I won't go into unless you guys think it will help to know. After a few months he broke up with me. We were apart for like 6 months I wanna say. And ended up getting back together. I had a complete mental break after we broke up, but that doesn't necessarily pertain to what I'm needing advice on. I am now fully medicated and in therapy and doing really well for myself. Well, since getting better and trying to find myself, I have began to notice things in our relationship I really can't stand. I have tried to talk to him about these things as well without getting upset and accusing, but nothing has changed. Okay, so basically we don't go on dates, like at all. I think the only time we've ate out together was with friends or his family. He rarely spends any money on me, when I am constantly doing my best to keep him in mind when shopping or getting food or anything like that. I barely get any physical affection, barely any compliments, other than over Snap or Instagram or something like that. He generally has a rude tone when talking to him. He acts like he's all-knowing, and whenever I say anything he disagrees with he basically tries to therapize me and act like a parent more than a boyfriend under the pretense that he does it because he cares, but the way in which he says it always feels demeaning. Whenever we hang out we don't really talk, or even have much to say to each other. We don't connect on that level, no real common interests, honestly anything close to that. The only time we really do anything together is with other people, and even then we basically act like strangers. Also, the way he acts around other people can be a little bit frustrating. Some of them have expressed their feeling like he is a know-it-all, talks over them, gives advice when it wasn't wanted. Just shit like that, and yes, I acknowledge I am basically shitting on him right now. But truly, if you guys were me, you'd know this isn't even half of it. Okay, I'm going off on a tangent here. I also acknowledge this is all my feelings on the matter, and feelings aren't always fact. So I could be exaggerating since I'm already at my wit's end. Now to my question, are my feelings valid? Is this reason even enough to break up with someone? I truly love him, but lately it's been getting so hard to keep the feelings alive.